Hi guys, this is the Antec 200 millimeter, also known as Big Boy case fan. I'm a little bit late to the party here. I probably should have done this video about 10 years ago, but only now have I tried to make changes. This fan was on the large 1200 case as well as the different versions of the 900 case. The fan has a 3-speed control, low, medium, high, as well as LED control. Comes with LED lights all around it. The power connection is usually one of these. If you notice, it's only two wires. I cut this off. I took the wires from an old fan and wired it in. Additionally, I ran a yellow wire all the way to a spot on the board labeled S. I plugged this into my motherboard, and S for speed signal, there was nothing there. Made no difference at all. So I looked online for a long time to see if there was any way to make this motherboard controllable and any way to read the RPMs of the fan. Well, turns out that all of these fans monitor RPM, whether or not they have 3 wires or 4 wires. By the design of the fan, it requires monitoring of the RPMs. Whether or not it's enableized for use with the motherboard is up to manufacturer. Turns out that, I don't know why, but Antec did not enable this. So I found some threads, old threads, back from 2010 of guys making modifications, but it wasn't very clear. Additionally, apparently there's 2 versions of this fan. One that has the LED lights and an early one that does not. Usually that's not the big deal, but they also changed the entire board in order to do that. So now I'm going to show you how to get in here. With this fan, the LED lights are all around the outside. They are also hot glued into place. If you try to force it, you might break and rip everything. So what you do is you get a hair dryer, focus it right there. It'll soften this up. You push it from the other side and it'll pop right out. I already did it. That's why it comes out. You run it out all the way around. Okay? This is the decal that covers this. That also protects the grease of the bearings. Now, I already popped this out because I already did the whole modification. And so now I'm just sharing it with you. So there is a small spring clip, a small plastic washer. Then there's a ball bearing. Underneath that ball bearing, which comes out pretty easily, is a spring. You don't have to concern yourself with that. Just letting you know so that you don't lose it. Once you take that apart, that spring clip is not easy to remove, by the way. Once you do that, disconnect the wires all the way around from the LEDs so that they could come out easily, as well as all the power wires. Adjust this. Once that's done, the fan will come right out with the other set of bearings. You can put that aside. Now, here is the motor and the PCB board. Behind this is a bunch of circuits, transistors, the whole gamut of stuff. The problem with this particular fan is that this is actually glued to the frame. So what I did was I got a socket, a small socket, to fit right in between there. And I held this with my hand and carefully whacked this to push the frame assembly through. And that's what will happen. Most other fans, the thing is just pressed on, but for whatever reason, they put some glue on this, and as a result, I did crack this a bit, but I glued it. I tested it. It's fine. Okay. Once this is open, you'll see a bunch of things, but this is what you're looking for. This here is basically the brain of this fan. And it sends a speed signal, which is provided by the second leg from the bottom here. Second leg. That goes to here. I salvaged a resistor from some scrap component and soldered it in place. But what somebody else told me is that you don't even need to use a resistor. You could just jump it. You could just solder a wire across, or simply solder a wire from here and send it over to your 3-pin connector. I decided to do it this way, so it continues the circuit, which goes all the way back around to this mess over here, where I then soldered this heavy yellow wire where it's designated S. And in doing so, I made this now speed controllable. Once this is done and you make that connection and you make the use one of these, you plug it into your motherboard, you will now see the RPMs, and your software will be able to regulate the speed of this fan. You will no longer be a slave to this manual thing, which is basically just a series of resistors. So what you would do is you would put this switch on maximum. You would put this on maximum, on high, and then your software, motherboard, whatever, will then control the speed of the fan. Will slow it down as needed for whatever profile. All right. Put the whole thing back together. Don't forget to put some grease over there where the washer is. The wires to the LEDs are very fragile. I've had to resolder all of them already while I was messing around with this, but everything's working perfectly. So here you go, where you see Opt Fan 1 speed. That is where I plugged in my big boy fan for testing. And I will manually flick the old switch to show you how the speeds change. That's medium. And now low. So I'm going to leave it in high. And then in my case, this is ASUS Republic of Gamers board. They have a utility called Fan Expert where I will be able to tune the top fan to the speed of my choice. That's it. Hope you enjoyed.